All right. Welcome to DCT.
Episode 45. Good morning, Ben.
Hi.
How'd you sleep last night, buddy?
Not great,
Not great.
but we move on.
Did someone get the couch last night?
I did get the couch, yeah.
I also got the couch last night. So, we're getting ready to move into the month of February, the great month of February.
Yeah.
Shortest month of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You got Valentine's Day, Black History Month. But I want to take your attention and focus it on February 3rd. February 3rd
Yeah.
will be the first ever DCT Wizards game attendance. We will be at the Wizards game on February 3rd against the Knicks. And this will be our first podcast outing as a company,
Yeah.
if you want to call us that.
Yeah.
Very exciting stuff. And plus, I think it's AJ Johnson hat night.
It is, yeah.
So that's going to be pretty sick.
Shout out to my girlfriend. Awesome.
Shout out
Amazing.
to his girlfriend. That was pretty sick. So thanks for that. And it's going to be great. It's going to be my first game of the season.
Yeah.
I'm going to love watching us, sit Trae Young. It's going to be great. But I'll turn our attention away for that for just a second
Okay.
to talk about something that has been on everybody's minds, essentially, which has been the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
Last week, we had a very, very interesting set of games.
A lot of close ones.
Yeah, the first four were
last drive.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I think there was 12 lead changes in the fourth quarter. There was 4 game-winning drives.
Yeah.
And then you had the other 2 games, but we're not going to talk about those yet. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go by conference. Ben's got the AFC, I've got the NFC, and we're going to just, you guys watch the games. We don't need to bore you with stats. So we're going to take the loser of every game and say a couple things that they could work on in the offseason to avoid this loss from happening again. So, Ben, would you like to start with your first AFC matchup?
Yeah. First one I got, the Bills. They obviously beat the Jags 27-24. A couple things that they need to work on. One, I do think they need to re-sign Etienne. He had a great game against Buffalo. He had a great season last year. Finished top 10, I think, in fantasy.
Yeah.
And him with Bashal in the backfield really formed a great duo this season. So I think they need to lock him up. Obviously, their run game was a big part of their offense this year, so if you let him go, that disappears, puts a lot more pressure on Trevor.
Yeah.
My second point is I think Trevor really either needs to work on his consistency in big games or he needs to learn how to be a game manager.
Yeah.
I mean, last 6 games of the season, he had a 15 touchdown to 1 interception ratio. He was playing out of his mind great, and everyone was like, is Trevor finally arrived? Is he the guy? And then you had the game in Buffalo. And, I mean, he had a pretty solid game. He threw 3 touchdowns, but he also threw 2 picks. One of them being a very important pick at the end of the game. That's annoying.
Yeah.
Very annoying pick at the end of the game. First drive, you're like, okay, this guy is about to make his first playoff game-winning drive.
Yeah.
And he follows it up by throwing a pick on the first throw.
Yeah. Which, I mean, is kind of crazy because it was a deflection and, he threw behind his receiver. Bedford, hit it up in the air. And
I don't think it's all on him because it was also a crazy defensive play by the Bills. But, I mean, next year he's making $24 million on the cap, so I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. But 3 years down the road, they're back-ending his contract. So in 3 years' time, in 2029, he's going to be making $78 million. So if you haven't figured out if you're a game manager or a game winner, you need to by then.
Yeah.
Either restructure the contract or...
And I think it's just experience. It comes down to just that playoff experience. T-Law doesn't have a bunch of it. So, compared to guys like Josh Allen who have resided in the playoffs these last 7-8 years.
Yeah.
I mean, this will be an important loss for him because now I think this is a reality check, especially with having your Brian Cohen as first year. It's nice that you can take it to the playoffs in a very shaky AFC South. So I think that next year, if they do all of these things, they can be right back to being a playoff contending team.
Yeah.
And as long as they just clean up some like very minor issues, like maybe working on Trevor's rolling out speed, because Trevor isn't like the fastest quarterback, but he's 6'6".
Got
he's
a couple rushing
dude.
touchdowns this year.
Yeah, he's a big dude, but he could get a little bit faster. I feel like that would open up his game a lot.
Yeah. All right, what's your first NFC game?
My first NFC game was the Rams beating the Panthers 34-31. Now,
Brutal.
This game was a very interesting game because first half, it looked like the Rams were just going to run away with this game.
Yeah.
Their offense was clicking. Puka had 2 first-quarter touchdowns. I think the score was like 21-3 at one point. It was moving in the right direction for the Rams.
Yeah.
And then the Panthers offense decided to wake up. Now, whether it was the Rams actually going cold on the offense or the Panthers actually heating up,
yeah,
who knows? But it ended up being a very close game at the end, and it came down to a game-winning drive.
Yeah.
So I would say for the Panthers, they definitely found their guy in Bryce. Bryce is definitely going to be their quarterback of the future, 100%. There's no need to really bench him anymore. I feel like you just have to let him rock for the next 2 seasons. Now, in me saying that, you got to protect him. In that Rams game, in that first quarter, he had no time to throw, and he had no options. So I say you attack your O&D line in the offseason. You either go and get people that are going to help you or push it all to the draft and just start drafting linemen. There's a lot of good O-linemen every year. So I feel like if you need O-linemen and you can fix that problem, you got to protect Bryce.
Yeah.
That's your main point. All your pieces are there. Your defense is good. Your offense is good. All you need to do is give Bryce more time. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if you just get these O-line and D-linemen, a D-lineman is also what they need. You're going to have some injuries that are going to push you back into the middle of next season on your defense.
Yeah.
So you got to get some defensive help on that line. You clean up those lines to protect Bryce. The Panthers, their division's wide open. Wide open. And them winning it this year is going to be a huge chip on their shoulder going to next year. I don't see why they don't repeat as division champs next year.
Yeah. I think it's all honestly down to whether or not the Bucs decide they want to play a whole season or if they want to just shit the bed in the middle of it.
Yeah, if everybody's, ankles decide to break at the same time.
Yeah, then, exactly.
Your next AFC matchup.
My next AFC matchup, the Sunday night matchup. Patriots beating the Chargers 16-3. Now, I know everybody was upset with this game, as was I, honestly. We had 4 straight great games, and the ones on Saturday, the comeback wins, the early one on Sunday was a great Bills-Jags game. The other one. And then this one was just such a, meh game.
It was such a letdown.
It was a defensive battle, it seemed like. I think the main thing the Chargers need to work on is their offensive line. Obviously, I know Chargers fans are going to be pissed off, but you need to get some reinforcements on that line. I know when they're healthy, Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater are probably the best tackle duo in the league. Mm-hmm. Rashawn Slater's been injured the past 2 seasons. Joe Alt was out half of his second season. They're great when they're playing, but it doesn't seem like they seem to be on the same page when it comes to staying healthy.
Yeah.
So go out and get some guys. Their backups were horrendous. The interior offensive line is not good.
Yeah. Even
if they do have the tackles, they still need to bolster that interior offensive line. Trey Pipkin, PFF grade, 39 out of 40. Mm-hmm. Mekhi Becton, 36 out of 37. Bradley Bozeman, 41st out of 41st. Go out in the draft, go out in free agency, get yourself a stud center. If you have a great center, you have a great right tackle, and you have a great left tackle, that's good. But you could also work on that interior offensive line because it really seems to be that Herbert's only issue is he's just getting absolutely bulldozed by whatever defensive line he's facing because they don't have any protection around him.
Yeah.
And, you could say he needs another weapon. I think Keenan Allen, Trey Harris, Quentin Johnson, Lad McConkey, Aronde Gadsden, I think that's completely fine.
Yeah, they have enough weapons.
You've got Amaran Hampton in the backfield. You've got Najee Harris coming back. They'll be fine.
You got guys like Vidal, who's popped off this year in the absence.
Harbaugh runs a system where it's one of those where you don't need a stud running back in order for your offense to succeed. He's a plug-and-play guy. he'll make it work.
Yep.
They could also work on edge rusher, honestly. I mean, they have a massive need. They can't keep depending on Thule because he's a linebacker, and he's getting 13 sacks a season for them.
Yeah.
So go get yourself an edge. Go get yourself some interior offensive linemen.
That's nice.
What is yours next game?
My next game will be the Bears beating the Packers 31-27. Now, as a Washington fan, I don't really think of the Bears at all because why the hell would I? And I did pick the Packers to win this game. I thought that Jordan Love and LaFleur and the offense were going to be able to steamroll this very shaky defense. And they did for the first 3 quarters.
They had Jordan Love had 4 touchdowns and no picks.
Yeah, it was 27-6 at the start of the 4th quarter. And then the Bears scored 25 unanswered points. Now, I did have a couple notes here for what the Packers could work on. Obviously, it's a huge thing losing Micah Parsons. He was your stud that was carrying your defense to the playoffs.
Yeah.
He was giving Rashawn Gary open looks and not getting double covered the entire time. And both of them were succeeding and thriving off of it. When he goes down, there's not exactly an easy person to use to replace Micah Parsons. And, it was just brutal to watch. That game in the 4th quarter, their defense was doing great the entire game. And it's a 4th quarter football game. You cannot just give it all up. And I can't put this all on the defense because Jordan Love ended up going out there and not being able to produce on offense. And I did look up this stat the other day. He had 3 intentional grounding calls in that game.
Jordan
Love had 3 intentional grounding calls. He had 1 in the first 5 minutes of the game. He had 2 in the last 6 minutes of the game.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Which is crazy. Giving that up, plus a loss of down, you can't do that in the 4th quarter.
Well,
that's just giving away possessions.
It also depends on the Bears' defensive scheme. It kind of seems like the first half they put no pressure on him. Yeah. I think they had 1 quarterback pressure in the first half. And then second half, I think Ben Johnson was kind of just let's throw everything we have at them. We're down by an incredible deficit. Let's rush every time. I think they put 7 quarterback pressures on him in the second half. So
yeah, it was ridiculous. And the Bears did what they needed to do. You see your defense isn't working, so you adapt. You change what you're doing, and it obviously worked for them. Now, as far as the Bears will go in the playoffs, I don't know. They have a pretty tough matchup coming up next week. But for the Packers in the offseason, figure out your defensive woes. You can't just keep giving up 25 points in a playoff game. You can't do that. So whether it's
31.
Oh, yeah, sorry, 31. So whether it is going out and getting help or just praying that your guys get better by the end of the year, their team is a solid team. You have the offense, you have the line, you have the defense.
Yeah.
They just need to play 4 quarters of football. And whether that means LaFleur loses his job or not, there's been some talks about him being shaky and remaining on the team. I don't think they move on from him, but I think this is a good wake-up call for the Packers, being okay, you got to lock it in. You can't just coast through like you did with A-Rod for all those years and coast through your first 2 games and then just put all your chips in the basket for the NFC Conference Championship.
Yeah.
So figure that out. It was a close game. It also doesn't help that Brandon McManus misses 3 field goals, but, that's besides the point. You can't live in the past. Good job on the Bears, and, they got their first playoff win in a while, so that was pretty good for them. All right, what is your last AFC matchup?
Last AFC matchup, the Monday night game. The defensive scoring out splash. I don't even know how to say that. They beat the Steelers 30-6.
We've been waiting on our blowout. We hadn't had a blowout in the playoffs yet.
We were, yeah. And honestly, it wasn't a blowout until midway through the 3rd quarter.
Yeah.
It was just I didn't even want to tune into the game. I was meal prepping, and I was just all right, let's throw this on, see what's happening. And I think it was what was the score at that point?
It was 15-3.
Yeah, something like that. And I think it was 15-6. Mm-hmm. And I said, all right, let's see what happened. First play I'm watching, boom, strip sack, fumble, touchdown. And I was all right, the game's over now.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, my first thought was immediately just get rid of Tomlin because, I mean, it's the same pattern over and over again. But then Tomlin stepped down.
Yeah.
So
I think that was kind of just him saving face.
Yeah, I think he was like, all right, I have the worst playoff record. I haven't won a playoff game since you and I were in high school.
Yeah, probably.
But other than the Tomlin aspect, I do think they need to upgrade their weapons room. It is just, like you said, you were looking at that wide receiver lineup that Aaron Rodgers was thrown at, and it was a trio of DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. That cannot be a playoff wide receiver trio and expect success with that at all. I mean, Kenneth Gainwell was their most dependable receiver this season out of the backfield.
Him and Jalen Warren, like even just both of them, were more consistent than any of their wide receivers.
Exactly.
This year.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And go out into the draft, get yourself maybe a Mekhi Lemon, get yourself a Denzel Boston, a big receiver, a small receiver even, not Calvin Austin sized, but if Jordan Tyson drops, maybe grab him. They use the tight ends and running backs a lot in the past game, and I think normally it's a good scheme, but I think if you're too heavily dependent on it come playoff time, teams just know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So, the new coach in there, no matter who it is, I think we just really need to work on upgrading that room.
Yeah. It'd be really crazy.
Huh.
Is Arthur still on that team?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Arthur for head coach?
No.
You think the Steelers are that dumb?
I don't want to question the intelligence of the Steelers because,
I mean, they make the playoffs every year, so they can only get so far.
They're fine. Who's your last team?
My last matchup was the 49ers beating the Eagles 23-19. Now, as you can tell, not a big Birds guy. I do think that the Eagles had a very, very depressing year of football. Whether it was off the field and on the field drama, it was questions about your quarterback being, a plug and play rather than a good, even a great quarterback.
Yeah.
There was a meme that started at the beginning of the year about the Eagles playbook. And I mean, everybody knows what it is, Saquon up the middle, Saquon up the middle, AJ Brown deep ball,
incomplete
punt. Like that was the entire game. Yeah. Of that Eagles-49ers game.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they were getting after Hurts. They had a couple sacks. I mean, the Niners' defense was very good in that game. And, Brock was doing his thing, just being there. Prayers up to George Kittle. That was a rough way to go out. And that's going to be a huge part of that 49ers offense that's going to be missing.
We love George.
Tonjes, great backup tight end.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he definitely got into that game. And he recorded a couple catches for a few yards. He was doing his job. It's no George Kittle, but, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, for the Eagles, my note on here was getting rid of Kevin Patullo. They already did that. So he's gone. I would be surprised if he's not dead in Philly by now.
I saw a tweet the other day that was like, I heard they were egging his house. I would have thrown frag grenades.
Would have thrown a Molotov cocktail through his window. In game. That was a joke. The second thing I wrote down here is going after Mike McDaniels. I feel like that is going to be the best part of their OC, which is going to be the worst part as a Commanders fan. But, I'm being unbiased right now. That's your best pick for offense. You have all the weapons that you need. It just depends on if A.J. Brown wants to be a wide receiver or Honey Boo Boo, essentially, if he wants to just be a little drama queen about it.
Yeah.
And then my third point on here was maybe looking at seeing if other teams might want AJ. Maybe even for the end of his contract, just buying him out, seeing what teams need a wide receiver one, maybe sending his ass back to Tennessee, who knows. But I mean, if AJ is going to keep being that locker room negative for you guys, do you really need that? I know Philly's all about, brotherly love and, the fans are all but, if AJ wants to walk, I feel like he's going to be talking a lot in the offseason.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of what he does. So, if he wants to walk, maybe they'll let him go on a trade or maybe they'll let someone else buy out his contract. But, I mean, they have a lot of potential. I mean, their defense is there. They have the best 1-2 corners in the league. And, that's exactly what the Niners knew. They knew that coming into that game. They knew Quinyon Mitchell is best corner in the league. What are we going to do? Throw 3 plays at him right out the gate. They went after him 3 times and got, I think it was like 20 yards in 3 plays just going after Quinyon Mitchell. So, I mean, Kyle Shanahan's a dog, bro. Like, he will go after your ass every time. So, the Eagles will have a good offseason. I mean, again, very shaky division. They're in the NFC East. Who knows who's going to win it next year? We all kind of look like crap right now. I'm hoping it could be us, but...
Shout out to the B-Rob jersey, the only commander that's still relevant that's in the playoff.
The only jersey I have of a playoff performer right now. And who's going to have a increased role with the absence of George Kittle. So look out for B-Rob next week. Don't bet on him, though, because I want to see him do good. So that wraps up our recap.
I like it.
Now we're going to shift to the recaps.
Oh, I see what you did there.
You see what I did there? Yeah. Our Washington Capitals have been all right these last, couple weeks. We're 24, 17, and 6, which is all right. I don't want us to worry about that 6 because, the overtime's like, for us. But
at least it's not 7.
Did you just all right, whatever. In 2026, we have a record of 3-4, which is of the last, 14 days, 2 weeks. Injuries have had us pretty incomplete these last days. You'd had Protos going out for a few games. I mean, you still have guys that are on IR that haven't come back yet. But this is giving a big chance for the young guys to step up. And boy, oh boy, are they stepping up. Oh my God. I just got a couple standouts here. Ethan Frank has been an absolute dog in 2026. He's had 5 goals in the last 4 games, including 2 last night in their 3-2 win against the Canadiens.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Doug. Justin Sordiff recorded a hat trick. First rookie cap to record a hat trick since Ovi did it.
Okay.
So, I mean, if that's not speaking volumes as to how good he is in his rookie season, I don't know what does. And then you got Connor McMichael, who's had 7 points in 4 games, and he had 4 assists in that Anaheim blowout when we won 7-4 on the road. So, these young guys are great. And this team is looking really nice right now. I'm excited to see what February brings for this team, and even like late January. We'll have like an easier part of our schedule coming up versus like the gauntlet we just ran through that we went 3-4 on. So I'm excited for this team. Ovi's still getting points. All these young guys look great. Like even guys like Leno are like looking good coming back from from injury. Sorry, not energy. What the fuck? And
they have a lot of energy now.
And that'll be the next game that we go to as a podcast. Will be a Caps game. So
the next planned one is the Wizards game, but the next one after that will be
our next one. Like you already said, we already told you we're going February 3rd, but the next game after that for the DC pod will be at the Washington Caps.
Yeah. 100%.
At Capital One Arena. So, great job, boys. Like, it's been phenomenal to watch you guys.
I just hope that they can figure out the best lineups, considering we have some injuries right now. They figure out come playoff time when we make the playoff.
Right.
If we can really just optimize those good lineups together, really put them in a scheme that works out for us, and hopefully won't result in the playoff success or playoff results we've had at the past few years.
Yeah. It'll definitely be it was nice to, beat the Habs yesterday as kind of like a playoff, And I think this year it felt a lot different than last year. I felt like last year we didn't really deserve to be in the playoffs. We just kind of coasted in because the Metropolitan was kind of ass. But this year our team feels really strong. But then again, every other team in the Metropolitan Division is strong this year.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to you about this a couple weeks ago. Like, you could be in first place. Like, you can jump from 3rd to 1st, winning 1 game.
Yeah, exactly.
But you lose 1 game from first place, you could fall all the way to 7th place. Like, that's how close the Eastern Conference is right now. I mean, it's a really tough year for the Metropolitan, especially the East. The West, wide open.
Yeah.
But the East, everybody's right there.
Every time I log into ESPN, you know how it has every team's record and then their place in the standings?
Yeah.
The Caps are just like 6th, 2nd, 4th, 1st, 7th, 3rd.
You can just ping pong. Like, you could start at first and then end at 7th, but then go through like 4 position changes during the week.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually insane. So if we can string together some wins here, make a nice little playoff push, people start coming back from injury, I feel like we can be a really good playoff team.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, for our Capital One brethren, we have a new wizard in town, guys. I realized earlier today that we haven't talked about this on the podcast yet, but
At all.
we have acquired Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. Now, before I say anything about this, I want to preface this by saying last night, Ben and I were sitting on the couch, and I was looking at my phone, and I saw that the Hawks were playing the Lakers. And I was like, oh my God, CJ and Corey's like first or second game on the team.
Yeah.
Let's see how they're doing. Went to go stat check them. Both of them were coming off the bench, by the way. Completely different efficiency numbers. Corey Kispert shot, I think it was maybe 10 shots from the floor off the bench. And he had 12 points. He had 3 threes, and he had a free throw. I think he ended with 10 or 12 points.
Yeah.
CJ McCollum, on the other hand, had 21 points off the bench. But this was on 10 for 21 shooting and 2 for 9 from 3.
This guy said, I'm going to do the exact same thing here I did in Washington.
And it's going to work off the bench. But, yeah, so Trae Young for CJ and Corey Kispert. I'm super excited to have Trae Young on the team. Like, I've been talking about it all year, how we've needed a true point guard, and this is the time. Now, this begs the question. I have some open-ended questions here for you about what the Wizards should do with Trae Young.
Yeah.
So we have a top 8 protected pick this year going into the draft. Do we jeopardize that by starting Trae?
Steve, this is tough because with the way the lottery is set up now, you can't really tank in the NBA anymore. Like, last season was a perfect example of this. I mean, the Wizards, Hornets, and Jazz all were within 1 game of each other for having the worst record in the league, and then it was everybody else. And somehow it was Mavs that won, who almost got into the play-in.
Yeah.
Or I think we're in the play-in.
They lost to get out of the play-in. Like, before the play-in actually started, they lost, like, their last game.
Yeah.
Which put them at the 6th worst team, which gave them 1 lottery ball.
Yeah. And then the Spurs, who already had a pretty established team with Wemby, De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell, Stephon Castle, and then everybody else. So I have a very hard time believing that even if Washington were to tank the rest of the season, get that 18 wins they had last season, that we still would not end up at that 6th pick we did last season.
Yeah.
It's very annoying because I get it. The NBA doesn't want to stimulate tanking. But at the same time, these teams are so bad that like Hornets better this year.
Yeah.
Washington better this year. That is to no result because of the draft.
Yeah.
Trae Johnson was great. Alex Sarr was our only top 2 pick in however many years it was. So I want to say I think the best plan of action would be to just sit him for now. Kind of get those guys playing without CJ, without Corey in the lineup, see how they play without him, and then maybe the last few weeks of the season, insert Trae in there, win a few games, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. End around like that 20-25 win mark.
Exactly. That would still, most likely, lottery-wise, guarantee you a top 8 pick, I'd say. Obviously, NBA lottery sucks. There's no guarantees with anything. But insert Trae in there, get him some chemistry with the young guy, get the young guy able to fluidly put him into the lineup. And I think we go from there.
Yeah, I think it's a smart idea to push him towards the end of the season. I feel like we gain nothing from making a playoff push this late in the season now. Like, we will gain absolutely nothing from it. Whether it be we actually get into the play-in by this point and then lose. Yeah. Like, that's not really going to help us at all. So, I mean, sure, it may give us some playoff experience, but, like, one series as like a play-in team. Like that's not what we're really trying for here. So pushing him later in the season, getting him that last couple of weeks of game time, I like it. Now, this brings up my second question. If we secure the pick at the end of the year, do we let Brian Keefe remain as head coach? We have been talking a lot of shit about Brian Keefe this year and last year too. But if we do get that secured pick, do we let Brian Keefe stay at the steering wheel and try to drive this team through a push next year?
I think it depended on a couple things. One, I believe that Mike Malone is still on the free agency coaching market right now. I don't know why no team has already gone after him. If he is on a team, great. But I think it is entirely dependent on which coaches are available. I mean, if you've got a, relatively elite coach that had a playoff push this past year, didn't do as well, team decides it's time to move on. Get rid of Keefe and go stash that guy up.
Yeah.
But if there's no option,
let him ride.
Let him ride. I mean, at least for another season. If we do bad,
half a season.
Yeah. If we do badly, fine. Then we know Keefe isn't the one. I don't think Keefe is the one regardless. But I think we keep him unless a highly respected coach comes out into the
market.
agency.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting definitely to see how he works with this offense. I mean, Trey's going to be good. He's going to open up that floor. I'm excited for next season. I want to try to get to a game at the end of the season where he's playing.
Yeah.
That would be nice. Maybe in the gold unis. That'd be kind of tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, super exciting stuff. I feel like we're getting a rebirth here in these last couple of years for Washington sports.
Yeah.
And it's making me really excited. Like, I'm super excited to see what happens. Now, I mean, the Nats are the Nats. So, you know what? They're like...
They gave us a ring.
They did. That's more than
6 years ago now.
Any of our other teams can say in our lifetimes. So, except for the Caps. So, good for them. But for now, we'll talk about something else. Maybe get back to a little bit of football.
Can I just say one thing before we get off to this Trae Young point? Yeah. You know who really pissed me off in the media this week? Stephen A. Smith.
Of course.
I'm normally relatively a Stephen A. Smith fan. I think he has some good takes. I think one of his worst takes to date is they asked him about the Trae Young trade on ESPN the other day, and you know what his response was? Who cares? The Wizards have been bad for so long. He's not going to do anything. What the hell, first of all?
Yeah. Some sort of analyst you are.
This is a guy that praises the Lakers in their losing season. This is the guy that praises the Knicks in their losing season. The Knicks were a dumpster fire for 10 years, and he wants to come in here and say that the Washington Wizards, because they haven't made the playoffs in 2021, are irrelevant and no one cares about them. I think that is a stupid take. You talked about the Lakers for 24/7 when D'Angelo Russell was their best player and Luke Walton was the head coach. I don't give a fuck about the Los Angeles Lakers unless they're in the playoff. Even then, I really don't.
Yeah.
But then you have him talking about the Knicks when James Dolan is the shittiest owner in all of team sports. And you expect me to just be like, oh, yeah, you're right. The Wizards suck. We probably shouldn't talk about
them. We should just go shoot ourselves in the fucking foot every season, apparently for your happiness and enjoyment.
Stephen A. I mean, this is a guy that leads the NBA in assists when he's healthy, going to a team that has a bunch of young stars. And you want to be like, yeah, they're not going to be good.
He's got the highest APG of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, of all time.
Of all time.
Of all time.
And he wants to be like, yeah, no one cares about that. Great idea. Let's shut down these smaller teams like the Wizards. Let's shut down the Hornets. Let's shut down...
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Let's make it a 15-team league. We don't need any of these trash teams anymore.
Get rid of
Relegate them to the G League. Back to a little bit more of a positive note.
Anyway.
The Commanders. The Commanders got, promoted.
David Blau
to their OC. Ben?
I think it's an excellent move. Everybody's upset right now because obviously Mike McDaniels wasn't the immediate hire. I'm aware Mike McDaniels has the Dan Quinn connection. He has the offensive guru connection. He's known as a quarterback whisperer. But you know what would have happened, guys? He would have come to Washington. Our offense now, because we have no one injured, would have been top 10 again. And somebody would have come in the next coaching cycle and snatched him up. I personally don't want a 1-year replacement at a position like that.
He would have killed Jaden Daniels.
That is true.
You saw what he did to fucking brain dead Tua for the last fucking 5 years.
I think there was a little bit of Tua in him too.
Yeah,
but
there's definitely a little bit of Tua in him.
I mean, David Blau going from assistant quarterback coach straight to offensive coordinator, I think is a good move because, one, he's had his moments as a assistant quarterback coach in terms of calling plays. He was the one that designed the Jamison Crowder, Jaden Daniels touchdown throw at the end of last year to beat the Eagles, which was a highlight of everyone's season. When he was in Detroit, he drew up one of the plays for Dan Campbell against the Cowboys that resulted in a Sam Laporta 56-yard touchdown. So he's had his moment. So as long as he can keep that consistent, I love the move. Also, since he made that move, such a jump, he's not going to be snatched up immediately next year. Mm-hmm. I mean, nobody is going to be like, oh, this guy had one good year. Let's go ahead and get him. No. We'll have him for at least 2 to 3 years, I'd say. Hopefully 3.
Yeah.
But I do like it because of that. Detroit was trying to set up an interview with Blau for later this week before we made the move. So I'm glad that we don't have to worry about anybody stealing him away.
Yeah.
Which leads me to my last point. All of these Washington fans, I think, are being very hypocritical when, on one hand, you say, oh, the 2013 coaching staff, it had Kyle Shanahan at offensive coordinator. It had Sean McVay at tight ends coach. It had Matt LaFleur at quarterback coach. It had Mike McDaniels at wide receiver coach. It had Raheem Morris on the defensive side. And everyone's like, wow, we couldn't keep one of those guys in-house. We couldn't keep any of them. And then we sign this guy who's a perfect in-house candidate for the job, and everyone's like, why didn't we go get Mike McDaniels? What do you mean?
Stop being a hypocrite.
Stop. You can't have it two ways. Yeah. I don't understand it, but I like it. Him and JD5 apparently have a very strong connection, which led to the hiring. So I personally like it.
I think it's good. I think he's going to give us a fresh feel to this offense. And the offense, as football takes it, is only half the game.
Yeah.
So while I think it is a good hire for the OC, we are still having an empty DC room right now. Mm-hmm. We still have, as of right now on the books, DQ still defensive play calling. There's still a lot of people out there that we should really be looking into. I don't know, Stefanski or Gannon, one of the two. Yeah. I mean, that'd be kind of nice. But, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? We got to make some DC moves here.
Yeah. I don't. Stefanski's an offensive guy, so I don't think he's going to be hired at DC, obviously. Jonathan Gannon apparently did have an interview lined up for, I believe, Thursday, sorry. So we'll see how that goes. He didn't have the best record out there in Arizona, obviously. It's hard to have a good record in Arizona.
Sorry, William.
Yeah, formerly was the Eagles defensive coordinator the year before he got hired in Arizona. So he does have that playoff and Super Bowl experience. I've heard he's not exactly a locker room guy, so I don't know how much I'd want that aspect of it. Some other defensive coordinator interviews that have been confirmed and or done already. Denard Wilson, who was the defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans this past season, or in 24. I think he's fine. I also kind of find it hard to judge the Tennessee Titans defense considering they don't really have a ton of pieces.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of one of those things where the coach is working with what he's got.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's all you can ask him to do. So he'd be interesting. He's a native guy from Maryland who had coaching roles for the Jets, Eagles, Ravens, and Titans. So he's doing something right.
Mm-hmm. He's getting around the league.
He's getting around the league, which sometimes is a good thing, sometimes isn't.
Yeah.
We interviewed Joe Cullen, who is actually the defensive line coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. They inked him to an extension last season or 2 seasons ago after the Super Bowl, which was obviously a great move for them. He's been in the league for 20 years. He has been line coaches for the Browns, Bucks, Ravens, and Chiefs now. So I think he would be interesting just coming from the aspect that he might be able to develop Jerzon Newton. He might be able to develop a Javon Kinlaw.
When really, Dorrance comes back.
So really make that line, which has been a very weak point in our defense, sort of stand out, which would be very beneficial. So he's probably my top candidate right now. And then I really just, it's just like a maybe.
Okay.
But Brian Flores.
Okay.
On Minnesota as their defensive coordinator right now. That Minnesota defense went through some turnover last season after going 14-3. Obviously, this season they went, I think, 9-8. So, but the fact that their best aspect of that team was the defense after they lost 2 corners, I believe they lost some D linemen off the team, and they just picked up right where they left off.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the weak point of that team was 100% J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
But the fact that their defense was shutting down Detroit, it was shutting down Green Bay, it was shutting down Chicago, they were doing something right. Yeah. And obviously, Brian Flores is known as a great defensive coordinator. He's gone to, I think it's Miami. He was the head coach in Miami while Tua was there before McDaniel. Should have never been fired, in my opinion. He went to Pittsburgh. He went to Minnesota, obviously. That would be the dream hire.
Yeah.
Because he has a lot of experience. He's obviously incredibly good at what he does, and I think he would be great for our scheme. But that's a dream hire. We'll see.
I'll throw a little nugget out there, too, just in case nobody hires him as a head coach.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he's had a couple tough seasons, but he did win Coach of the Year a few years ago, Brian Dable. He's still out there.
Yes.
I've heard a lot of talks from the Eagles about the Eagles hiring Dable as their
OC.
Either OC or one of their coaches. I don't know, because as far as I know, Sirianni's still on the team, and as much as I know, Philly fans, they hate Nick Sirianni. So they hated him probably more than Kevin Patullo, honestly. And I saw a lot of Kevin Patullo slander, like a lot of Kevin Patullo slander. Yeah. So, and I thought I talked shit about Joe Witt Jr. being on our team, but like the Eagles bring that, brotherly love, bring that to a whole new level.
Brotherly hate
almost. But Dable's still out there. I mean, I think he would also benefit our team in a lot of ways. I mean, Coach of the Year 3 years ago. So like, you can't really ask more of that if you want to hire a coach.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of options for us out there right now. So I think we see how the playoffs play out in the NFL. We see who gets let go. We see who's available.
Yeah.
And we'll still have a few weeks before everybody gets scooped up. Mm-hmm. So it'll definitely be an interesting time. And that leaves
to our last segment.
Our
quick picks. Now, of course, the annoying thing is we went from picking 16 games to now we only have 4 to pick.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
talk about a little bit of each one.
First one, Broncos versus Bills. ESPN has the Broncos favored at 51% to 49%, which is very interesting considering Broncos best record in the league. They are the number 1 seed. They had the bye last week. Bills are the 6th seed. They had, I think, 4 less wins than the Broncos did this season.
They were 11-6.
Something like that.
Yeah.
11-6 or 12-5.
One of the two.
But I think this game is 100% dependent on that Broncos defense getting after Josh Allen.
Oh, for sure.
I think that obviously earlier in the season we saw that Houston was able to really disrupt the Bills' offense by getting that pressure after Josh. He can only be Superman so many times, so I think that's the key to it. Obviously, limiting their weapons, limiting Shakir.
Weapons.
Yeah, right. Limiting Shakir, who had, I think, 5 receptions last week.
Yeah.
Limiting Keon Coleman, who hasn't done shit.
Who hasn't even played.
Yeah. Limiting their tight ends are very important. Obviously, Kincaid and Knox, big part of their passing game.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be very important. But also, see if the Broncos' offense turns up.
Yeah.
I mean, it really hasn't all season. I was talking with my buddy Graham about this the other day, who's a Broncos fan, and he was like, honestly, I love my team. I am not super confident that we are the best team in the NFL because of the offense this entire season.
Yeah.
I mean, Bo Nix, you know how I feel about Bo Nix.
Yeah. That's what you get for drafting in fantasy, you dickhead.
He had his great game against the Giants. It's against the Giants.
Yeah,
but,
it was the Giants.
I mean, Cortland Sutton can only carry you so far. J.K. Dobbins, if he plays.
R.J. Harvey. You know.
But we'll see. I mean, if their offense can be clicking, I think they can beat the Bills. But I really do think that the Bills somehow have the upper hand in this matchup.
I think it's going to rely... I think the main point of reliance in this game is going to be on James Cook. I think the Broncos have a really good defense, but they excel in their secondary and their pass coverage. Mm-hmm. So Josh is not going to have a whole lot of options. So that leaves the run game. And James Cook had the most rushing yards this year. I think he was tied in total touchdowns for the most touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
That is your guy. Like, Josh Allen, that is your guy. That has been your guy all year. Like, Keon Coleman has been on this little, like, Tampax retreat for this last, 4 weeks. Like, Shakur has been in and out with his ankle injury. Like, and then your tight ends have not been healthy. Like, I mean, you had Kincaid for half the season. Mm-hmm. Knox barely plays. So it's like, James Cook is your guy. And if you don't think that the Broncos know that, they're going to come after you. They'll be blitzing your ass. They'll be going after Josh, not letting him run. They'll be going after James Cook, hitting him in the backfield. Like, that's what the Broncos need to do to win. And the Bills, on the other side of that coin, need to establish that James Cook is that running back and is going to give you 100 yards in that game.
Yeah.
If he gives you 100 yards in that game, you're winning that game. This Broncos offense is not going to keep up with a very consistent Bills offense. So I think the Bills take this game, despite the Broncos being favored. It may be a close game, but I think towards the end of the game, it's going to start getting away from the Broncos, and I think they're going to have to look at the Bills are going to see the Broncos in their rearview mirror, and they're going to be like, okay, this game's pretty much clean cut and over.
Yeah.
Now, if they surprise me, fucking suck me silly and call me Willie, because I did not see that coming. So, I like the Bills in this matchup, despite me and my feelings towards the Bills.
Yeah.
I like the Bills in this one, but, I mean, I only say that to say I don't think they get past the Patriots in the next game. But
yeah,
we haven't gotten that far yet. But yeah, I would take the Bills.
All right, so we both got the Bills for that one.
Yeah.
Also, I figured it out. Last week you went 4-2.
Oh.
In the games, and I went 5-1. You only lost by one game. All right. Next game, the night game on Saturday is going to be 49ers versus Seahawks. The ESPN analytics has the Seahawks favored 59% to 41%.
That's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Niners riddled with injuries. Last week, they threw out their JV team against the Eagles because they had nobody else to throw at them.
Somehow beat them.
And now they are without George Kittle. So that is a big part of your offense. And as much as I was saying about Josh Allen and James Cook and being that run defense, I mean, C-Mac has been that offense this entire year. He's been that offense. And if you don't think the Seahawks know that after playing them twice this year, I mean, you must be fucking smoking crack.
Did you see that Jawan Jennings touchdown throw to Christian McCaffrey?
That was clean.
That was
a clean fade route.
Did you know Jawan Jennings was a 4-star quarterback?
I did know that.
In high school?
Yeah. I don't even know who was commentating, but somebody said that while he was on the screen.
Oh, really?
It was right after he had thrown the play, and I was just like, wow. That was a really good throw from a guy in wide receiver gloves. Yeah. So, I was like, yeah, so that's great. But, Niners Seahawks, I think this is going to be the best game of the week, honestly. I think it's not going to be as high scoring as everybody might think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because the defenses are so good. I will think, however, it's going to rely on if Sam Darnold can keep his goddamn turnovers under control. If he ends up going on another 4-interception masterclass, I don't know if I can watch the whole game.
Yeah.
And that will be a very, very sad way for JSN to go out in this playoffs. Mm-hmm. And especially with the year he's had, he's been up and down in, Offensive Player of the Year conversations, while running backs have been, tanking and skyrocketing. He's been a consistent 90 yards a week receiver.
Yeah.
And, he's got 10 touchdowns this year. He's been great. Their offense has been great. Kenneth Walker, for some reason, got over 1,000 yards rushing. I don't know how the hell that happened. So I'm going to take the 49ers in this game.
Yeah?
I think the bye week is really going to screw the Seahawks. They've been very lackadaisical all week. I've seen interviews on their head coach talking about like how they've been prepping for the Niners. They were already predicting that the Niners are going to beat the Eagles, so they've been scheming them for like 2 weeks now. So I think they're going to upset a lot of people. I think this defense can really be like that in terms of turnovers and forcing Darnold to use somebody else other than JSN. When he has to use somebody else other than JSN, it becomes a problem, which is where a lot of his interceptions come from.
Yeah.
So if he can keep that under control, Seahawks might have a good chance of winning. I don't know what their ground game is going to look like with Charbonnet and Walker in the playoffs, but the Niners definitely win that ground game advantage. And they might even win the air advantage if Darnold can't keep his picks under control.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the Niners, but the Seahawks can surprise me if Darnold doesn't throw more than 2 picks.
I think I'm going to go with the Seahawks in this one. My only reasoning for it is as much as I do think Sam Darnold does have the potential of shitting the bed in this matchup, I think that God, what's his name? The head coach for the Seahawks. I'm having a brain fart right now. Mike McDonald.
Yes.
Mike McDonald.
There's a bunch of Mikes in the league, man. It's too confusing to keep up with all
too
of
many
them.
Mikes. I think McDonald has shown that he is the caliber of coach to overcome a turnover-prone quarterback. It's shown the Rams game. Darnold, 4 picks, lost that game by a point. I think that if that Darnold does come to play on Saturday, it's going to be very hard for them to win. But I do think that with the level that the Seattle defense is playing at so far this year, combined with the fact that McDonald seemed to scheme up the run game in accordance with the pass game very well. And I think that their OC is also in talks for a lot of head coach hires this season. So I think even if Darnold does throw like 2 interceptions, that defense is still going to force Purdy and them to turn the ball over. So I do think that Seattle gets it done at the end of the day.
I do think that Seattle defense is really good, which is going to force Brock to do a lot of checkdowns, but that's what he's been doing all year.
Yeah.
I mean, C-Mac almost had 1,000 and 1,000 this year.
Yeah.
Rushing and receiving. He was their leading receiver this year.
Yeah.
At 943 yards.
Yeah. That made me laugh.
He's a running back. He's a running back, guys. He had also like almost 1,100 yards rushing too.
Well, we were talking about it the other day, and you were like, I wonder how many guys have done that before. And I looked it up, and I was like, oh, C-Mac's done that before.
Yeah. It's like the last person to do that was Christian McCaffrey in North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
So, I mean, it's been since 2019
yeah, exactly.
that it's happened. So,
all right. So you got Niners, I got Seahawks.
Yes.
Okay. Next game, Texans versus Patriots.
Now, guys, I want to apologize really quick for what I said about the Texans and Steelers last week. I talked about it with Ben before the show started, and I was like, you know how like when you're watching a UFC fight, and you're like seeing all these guys like get thrown around, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe this guy's losing. Like, I could have done better than that, right? Until you actually like get in front of the guy and he's like punching you in the fucking face, that you realize just how hard they hit.
Yeah.
That is this Texans defense. I had not watched a single Texans game all year. And then I watched this front four absolutely maul Aaron Rodgers in the pocket. And that's not a shaky O-line either. The Steelers have a really good O-line.
Yeah. It's solid.
It's solid. I mean, they haven't really been riddled by the injury bug, which a lot of these O-lines have. So they've had the same guys that they've had for a while now. And the Texans defense, their front four is like that. And their secondary is like that. I say all of that to say I think the Patriots are still going to win. Now, what the Steelers didn't have last week was the fact that the Patriots have an offense.
Yeah.
And the Patriots have Util on offense. And they can thank their lucky fucking stars that Stephon Diggs has to wait till February 5th to go to court. Because if he gotten arrested before this playoff started, I don't think you guys would have won a game. But that's just my personal hot take. Whatever. I got the Patriots in this one.
You got Pats?
I think the Texans' offense is not going to be able to keep up with the Patriots defense. It is going to rely on if Gonzo's okay, though. He did go out of the last game. I don't know what his status is. If Gonzo's out, it's going to be rough for the Patriots. But
I am also going to take the Patriots. I will preface that with something, though. If this Patriots offense plays like it did last week, the Houston Texans are going to absolutely shit on them.
Yep.
The Chargers defense at this point is just guys off the street, and they somehow forced 2 turnovers on the Patriots offense. They only scored 16 points on them. I know Harbaugh is a defensive mastermind, but at the end of the day, only scoring 16 points on that defense.
Yeah. It's not going to take you very far.
It's not going to take you very far. So if Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson can get after Drake May,
yeah,
it might be a long day for him.
Yeah. I will say that and take it a step further and say that if CJ Stroud plays like that this week, there's no shot in hell that he's going to be in a top quarterback conversation again. I mean, that game against the Steelers was a brutal watch.
2 fumbles and a pick.
It was a brutal watch. There were 3 plays where the center snapped him the ball and it hit him in the fucking face, and he wasn't even looking at him.
That game honestly should have been like 45-6.
The Steelers should have been able to capitalize on some points there. They got the ball. They recovered a fumble on the Texans' 20-yard line and had 4 downs and went 7 yards. So I think if CJ Stroud plays like that, the Texans have no shot. If CJ plays like a consistent quarterback, they could give the Patriots a run for their money. I'm still picking the Pats, though.
Last game.
Yep.
I want to keep this one short because I hate a team in this game.
Yeah.
Rams versus Bears.
Is that the Monday night or Sunday night game?
Sunday night, yeah.
Rams. What's the favor? What's the odds?
The Rams are favored 62% to the Bears 38.
I think this is going to be a really big wake-up call for the Bears. I don't think the Bears have seen a team like the Rams yet. So I'm like offense mixed with defense. This is a very, very well-meshed team.
Yeah.
And their offense played super well last week, and then they got cold. Ice cold in the second quarter. Or the second half, sorry. So for the Rams, they definitely need to keep this offense up the entire game.
Yeah.
And not let their defense give the Panthers like 23 second half points. On the other side of the ball, the Bears. They escaped by the skin of their teeth last week. And I don't know if the Rams are going to give them that kind of time to come back. I mean, 25 points in the fourth quarter, that's a crazy comeback to happen in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the Rams are going to take it. It might even be by 2 scores. But then again, I said that about the Packers, and the Bears won. So I'm just going to say that the Rams are going to win, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
I'm going to say Rams win. I think Matthew Stafford has proven this year that he can beat playoff teams after playoff teams. So I had the Rams prior to the season going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm just going to stick with that. And Bears fans, you had a good season. Congrats to you. But I think this is where the road ends.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to be a tough matchup for you guys. But hey, I've seen Caleb do some crazy things, man. So I've seen Ben Johnson drop some crazy plays. So
I've seen some Ben Johnson turnover plays too.
I have. I've also seen those, but I'm trying not to, incite the Bears into this
I'm okay with that.
one-sided beef
I'm okay
that they
with
have
that.
with us.
I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that?
Ben Johnson's an asshole.
I mean, yeah, you don't like Ben Johnson, but that's fine. So, with that all being said, this is a good place to end the episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you after another hopefully great week of playoffs for the NFL, and in a couple weeks we will be attending our first Wizards game as the DC Talk podcast.
Hooray!
So we will see you guys next week as we're signing off, and have a great rest of your week, guys. Adios.